She was a tired woman, serving plates in a small Atlanta diner. One quiet night, a man in a dark suit walked in. He didn't say much, but his presence changed her life. And years later, she still remembered that moment. The moment her broken heart finally began to heal. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell, so you never miss emotional stories like this. Once, not so long ago, in a small, quiet town outside Georgia, there lived a young woman named Maya. She was 24, the only child of parents who had given her everything they could, even when life gave them almost nothing in return. From the time she was a little girl, they told her, "You may not have much in your hands, but you must always have something good in your heart." Life, however, was not kind. When Maya was in high school, her parents started falling behind on bills. Her mother worked 2 jobs. Her father picked up extra shifts at a small factory. Still, some nights they went to bed with only bread and tea on the table. Maya would hear them whispering in the dark, trying to hide their worries from her. One evening, she sat alone on the front steps of their small house, watching the sky turn from orange to deep blue. Her phone buzzed with a message. It was from the man she once trusted more than anyone in the world. His name was Darius. He had promised her everything: love, safety, a future. She had believed him so much that she had given him her small savings to invest for their life together. But that night, when she opened his message, her hands started to shake. "I'm sorry, Maya. I messed up. The money is gone. I can't face you or your parents. I'm leaving town for a while. Please forgive me." Her chest burned. For a long moment, she could not breathe. The savings she had built from years of small jobs, babysitting, cleaning, helping at the local store, all gone with one man's selfish choice. She stared at the screen, hoping it was a joke. Another message came in, but this time it was just one word: goodbye. If you're still listening, don't forget to like this story and share it with someone who loves deep emotional tales. It truly helps more people find it. That night, Maya sat in the small kitchen with her parents. She could not hide the truth. Her eyes were red, her voice weak, as she said, "Mom, Dad, the money I saved, it's gone. I gave it to someone I trusted. He lied. He ran away." Her father's hand tightened around his cup. Her mother closed her eyes slowly. For a moment, the room fell silent, except for the low hum of the old refrigerator. Maya waited for shouting, for anger, for blame. But something else happened. Her mother reached across the table and took her hand. "My child," she said softly, "money can be replaced. Hearts are harder to mend. I am more worried about your heart than our savings." Maya's tears fell fast. "I was stupid," she whispered. "I wanted to help. I trusted him. Now we have nothing." Her father shook his head. "No. We still have you," he said quietly. "People will hurt you, Maya. Some will use your kindness, but don't let one man turn your heart to stone. Promise me that." Maya nodded slowly, even though, inside, something had broken. That night, as she lay on her thin mattress, she stared at the ceiling and made a decision. She would leave that town. She would go where there were more jobs, more chances. Atlanta. She had seen pictures, bright lights, tall buildings, busy streets. Maybe there, she could start again. A week later, after long talks and many tears, her parents walked her to the old bus stop at the edge of the town. Her mother pressed a small envelope into her hand. "There is not much inside," she said, "but it is all we can give. Use it wisely. Anna. They're not muchna. And remember what I always told you, treat people the way you want to be treated, even when life does not treat you well." Her father hugged her tightly. She felt his rough hands on her back, the hands of a man who had worked more than he had rested. "Call us when you get there," he said. And Maya, do not chase money. Chase peace. The right people will come in time. As the bus pulled away, Maya watched her parents grow smaller in the window until they faded into the distance. She pressed her hand to the glass and whispered, I will make you proud. I don't know how, but I will. The ride to Atlanta was long. The road faded behind her, and the city lights slowly grew brighter ahead. When she finally stepped down from the bus, the noise hit her first. Cars honking, people talking, music from somewhere down the street. The air smelled like food, smoke, and rain all mixed together. She stood there with her old suitcase, her heart both scared and hopeful. This is it, she said softly. New city, new life. For the first few days, things were hard. She walked for hours, from street to street, asking for any kind of work. Some people were kind but said they had no space. Some did not even look at her. She ate very little, saving as much of her small money as she could. On the fourth day, when her feet hurt and her throat felt dry, she passed a small corner diner tucked between a barbershop and a laundromat. The sign above the door was faded, but the smell coming from inside was warm and familiar. Fried chicken, collard greens, cornbread, and coffee. The windows were fogged from the heat inside. She peered in and saw a woman in her late 50s moving from table to table, serving plates and refilling cups. There were only 2 other workers, and the place was full. People laughed, talked, and ate like they were at home, not just in a restaurant. Maya hesitated for a moment, then pushed the door open. A small bell rang above her head. Warm air wrapped around her like a blanket. The older woman looked up from behind the counter, sweat on her forehead but kindness in her eyes. Hey there, sweetheart, the woman said. You need a table? Maya swallowed. Actually, ma'am, she replied. I need a job. The woman paused for a second, one hand on a coffee pot. She looked Maya up and down, not with judgment, but with careful eyes. You ever worked in a place like this? She asked. Maya shook her head. No, ma'am, but I learn fast. I can clean, wash dishes, serve food, anything. I just need a chance. One of the customers called out, Miss Lila, can we get some more iced tea over here? The older woman Lila nodded toward them. One sec, she answered, then turned back to Maya. Stay right there, she said. Don't move. For the next few minutes, Maya watched Lila move through the diner, serving, smiling, joking with customers like they were family. She could see the tiredness in the woman's shoulders, but also the love in her work. This diner was not just a business. It was a little world. When the rush calmed a bit, Lila came back. All right, she said. Grab that rag. Wipe down those empty tables. Let me see how you move. Maya did not waste a second. She grabbed the rag, wiped the tables carefully, straightened chairs, picked up napkins from the floor, pushed in stools. Her body was tired, but her heart was awake. She knew this might be her only chance. As she worked, a few customers watched her. One older man in a cap leaned over to his friend and whispered, That girl moves like she's been here a while. His friend nodded. Randa, we will goad. We will goad. We will goaded. You can tell when someone's hungry for more than just food. When Maya finished, she returned the rag to the counter. Lila stared at her for a long moment. Then a small smile touched her lips. What's your name, baby? She asked. Maya, she replied. Maya Green. Well, Maya Green, Lila said slowly. You move like someone who needs this job. One who needs this job. One who needs this job. We can always use extra hands around here. Pay ain't much, but I can get you started today. You help us, we help you. Deal? For a second, Maya could not speak. Her chest felt tight, her eyes hot. Then she nodded. "Deal," she whispered. "Good," Lila said. "Apron's hanging on that hook. Let's get you to work." Maya tied the apron around her waist, smoothing it with shaking hands. As she stepped out from behind the counter to serve the first table, she did not know that somewhere else in Atlanta, a young billionaire was also staring out of a window, wondering if his heart could ever trust anyone again. And she had no idea that their paths were already moving quietly toward each other. The next morning came with a soft gray sky over Atlanta. Maya woke before her alarm. She had barely slept, but she felt something warm inside her chest. Something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. It wasn't loud or bright. It was quiet, like a small light trying to grow. She washed her face, tied her hair, and slipped into the simple black shirt she had worn the day before. When she stepped outside her small rented room, the air felt cool and fresh. Cars rushed by on the main road. A bus groaned as it stopped to pick up workers. Somewhere nearby, a dog barked. Atlanta had its own rhythm, and she was slowly learning how to breathe with it. The diner was already awake when she arrived. Warm lights glowed through the windows. She could hear pots clattering inside, and the low hum of voices. When she pushed the door open, Miss Lila looked up from behind the counter. "Morning, baby," she said. "You ready for day 2? Maya nodded. "Yes, ma'am." "I'm ready." "Good." Lila smiled. "Grab that apron. Coffee's brewing, and folks will be in soon." Maya tied the apron around her waist, feeling the same nervous flutter she had felt the day before. She moved to the tables, wiping them down, checking napkins, placing menus neatly. She didn't want to disappoint Lila. For the first time since she left home, someone had trusted her. Customers began to walk in. An older couple sat near the window. A nurse in scrubs came in for a to-go order. A mailman grabbed breakfast before his route. The diner had its regulars, and each person brought a different piece of the morning with them. As Maya worked, she felt herself falling into a rhythm, pouring coffee, refilling water, carrying plates without shaking, smiling, even when she felt tired. She wasn't perfect, but she was trying, and people noticed. "Thank you, sweetheart," an older woman said, as Maya set down her plate of eggs. "You're doing real good," another man added. Small words, but they reached her heart. Around 10 o'clock, Lila stepped beside her. "You doing all right?" she asked softly. "I think so," Maya said. "You're doing better than all right," Lila replied. "Keep going." Maya nodded, her eyes warm. She didn't know that someone else had been watching her too. Someone she didn't even notice when he walked past the diner window that morning. A tall man in a dark gray suit. Clean cut. Calm. Quiet. He slowed down for half a second when he saw her through the glass, moving between tables with a soft smile and tired eyes. He didn't enter. He just looked for a moment, then kept walking. Maya never saw him, but he saw her, and for reasons he could not explain, something inside him shifted. She kept working through the morning rush. Sweat clung to her neck, but she didn't stop. Even when her feet hurt, even when her hands felt stiff. The diner was busy, louder than usual, and she was learning how to move through chaos with a steady breath. Around noon, she stepped outside to throw trash in the back bin. The air hit her face, cool and sharp. She closed her eyes, letting herself breathe for a moment. Her heart still had old wounds. Betrayal didn't leave quickly. Sometimes she could still hear Darius's last message echo in her mind. But the noise of life around her softened the sting, even if only a little. When she walked back toward the diner's rear door, she froze. At the end of the alley, a black luxury car was parked by the curb. She didn't know cars, but she knew this one was worth more than her whole life savings. The window was half down. Someone sat inside. Someone watching her. She didn't see his full face. just the shape of a man, the line of his jaw, the calm way he sat there. She thought maybe he was lost, or waiting for someone. She didn't think much of it. She pushed the door open and went back inside, shaking off the strange feeling. The man in the car didn't move. His eyes followed her until the door closed behind her. Then he whispered under his breath, "Who are you? If you're still here, make sure to subscribe for more stories just like this." Maya didn't take a break until 2 in the afternoon. Waited he. Waited he. Waited he. Waited he. When she finally sat down at the small table near the kitchen, Lila placed a warm plate in front of her: fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and greens. "Eat," Lila said. "You worked hard today." "Thank you," Maya whispered. She took slow bites. The food wasn't fancy, but it tasted like care. Like home. She could almost imagine her mother cooking in their small kitchen, humming softly as she stirred a pot. Her chest tightened. She missed them more than she could say. "Where you from?" Where are you from? Where?" Lila asked gently as she wiped the counter. "A small town," Maya replied. "Couple hours from here." "Why'd you leave?" Maya hesitated. Her throat felt tight again. "I needed a fresh start," she finally said. Lila nodded. "We all do, baby. One way or another." Maya looked down at her plate. "I messed up, trusted the wrong person." Lila's eyes softened. "And you think that makes you the first? Or the last?" She placed a hand on Maya's shoulder. "Listen to me. Your life ain't ruined. Hearts break. But they heal too." Maya blinked back tears. "I hope so." "They do," Lila said. "Sometimes slowly. But they do." The afternoon quieted down. A few customers came in and out. Maya washed dishes, swept the floor, wiped counters. She didn't complain, didn't slow down. Every motion felt like she was rebuilding herself piece by piece. When evening came, she stepped outside to take a short breath. The sky had turned deep blue. Streetlights flickered on. Traffic slowed a little. She leaned against the wall beside the diner, closing her eyes for a moment. Her back hurt. Her legs ached. She had less than $20 left. But for the first time since leaving home, she felt something close to safety. Then she heard footsteps. Soft, controlled, steady. She opened her eyes, and there he was. The man in the gray suit. Standing under the street lamp like the night had shaped itself around him. Tall, calm, serious eyes. Something heavy in his expression. Like he carried a story he didn't talk about. He wasn't just handsome. He had the kind of presence that made everything around him quiet. He looked at her for a second. Longer than a stranger normally would. "Is this Lila's diner?" he asked. His voice smooth, deep, controlled. Maya nodded slowly. "Yes, sir." He kept looking at her. Something in his gaze almost felt like recognition, though they had never met. "You work here?" he asked. "Yes," she said softly. A small pause. "You're doing a good job," he said gently. He didn't know why he said it, and she didn't know why it hit her so deeply. "Thank you," she whispered. Another silence fell between them. Then he stepped forward, toward the diner door. But before he entered, he glanced back at her. "My name is Jordan," he said. Simple. Calm. She waited for a last name. He didn't give one. Then he opened the door and walked inside. Maya watched him go, confused by the strange weight in his presence. She didn't know he owned half the street they were standing on. She didn't know his face was often in business magazines. She didn't know he was one of the youngest names in Atlanta real estate. She didn't know he had once believed in love and had been betrayed harder than she could imagine. She only knew one thing. When he looked at her, something inside her chest moved. Soft, small, but real. She didn't know it yet, But this was the moment her life quietly shifted toward a future she never expected, and his life began to open in a way he thought was no longer possible. The evening rush began slowly. People walked in after work, tired and hungry. Maya moved between tables with a steady breath, carrying plates, pouring drinks, taking orders. But she could feel something different in the room. Something quiet, something heavy. It was him. Jordan sat in a corner booth, alone, his hands folded, his eyes on the window. He didn't look like the regular customers. He sat too straight, moved too calm, like a man who thought before he breathed. Maya kept pretending she wasn't aware of him, but her heart reacted every time she walked by. It wasn't attraction. Not yet. It was something else, curiosity with a little fear. She didn't know the type of man he was. She only knew he wasn't like the others. Lila whispered to her, as she passed behind the counter, "You see the man in the corner?" Maya nodded softly. "He comes here sometimes," Lila said. "Never talks much. Eats alone. Leaves a big tip without saying a word. Folks say he owns some buildings around this area." Maya's hand paused around a cup. Owns buildings. A man like that didn't belong in their small diner. But she kept working. When she finally reached his table, she held her notepad tight. "Good evening, sir," she said. "What can I get for you?" "One. Now. One. Now. One. Now. 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 Now." He looked at her with calm eyes. "What do you recommend?" She wasn't ready for that. Most customers just ordered the usual. The grilled chicken plate is good," she said. "People like the mashed potatoes, too." He nodded slowly. "Then I'll have that." She wrote the order, but her fingers felt stiff. His presence pulled something inside her chest. Not fear, but depth. A feeling she didn't understand. "Anything else?" she asked. He looked at her again. "How long have you been working here?" Her breath caught. That question felt too close. "Just a couple of days," she answered. "You're learning fast," he said quietly. She almost dropped her pen. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded once, simple and calm, then looked back out the window. She walked away quickly, her heart unsteady. Why would a man like him notice something like that? In the kitchen, she placed the order. Lila watched her with a small smile. "You all right, baby?" "Yes," Maya said. "Just busy." Lila laughed softly. "Busy is good. But that man, he ain't just busy. He's carrying something heavy. You can see it in his eyes." Maya looked toward his booth. "He seems quiet," she said. "That's the dangerous type," Lila replied. "Quiet men feel the deepest." Maya didn't answer. When the food was ready, she carried the plate to his booth, steadying her hands so they wouldn't shake. She placed the dish in front of him slowly. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome," she replied. As she turned away, he spoke again. "What's your name?" She stopped. "Maya," she said without looking back. He nodded. "Nice name." She walked off before he could say more. Her heart was too soft for conversations like that. She had trusted someone once. She had believed too fast, too deep. And she wasn't ready to fall into anything again, not even small things like mysterious eyes and calm voices. But Jordan didn't call her back. He didn't try to talk again. He finished his meal quietly, left money on the table, and stood up to go. When he reached the door, he paused for a second. His eyes drifted back, only toward her. Then, he left. Maya kept her breath calm, her hands working, her mind full. Why did she feel like she had seen a storm that didn't show on the surface? If you're enjoying the story, don't forget to subscribe. It helps more people find these emotional stories. Night settled slowly over Atlanta. The lights outside grew brighter. The diner emptied one table at a time. Finally, only 3 customers remained. And they soon left too. Maya wiped counters while Lila counted the drawer. "You did good today," Lila said. "Better than yesterday." "Thank you," Maya said. "You keep this up," Lila added. "And I'll give you more hours." Maya nodded. "I'd like that." "Good." Lila smiled. "Go home now." "Thank you for watching." Lila added. Maya. "Go home now." Lila added. Lila smiled. "Go home now. Rest. You look tired." She did feel tired. But it was the kind of tired that felt clean, like she had earned her breath. When she walked outside, the air felt cool on her skin. She hugged her small bag to her side and began walking down the sidewalk toward the cheap room she was renting. A few blocks away, traffic buzzed over the bridge. A group laughed near a food truck. Somewhere, a dog barked again. She walked quietly, thinking about her parents, her town, her mistakes, her slowly rebuilding life. She didn't notice the black car until she passed it. It was parked exactly where she'd seen it earlier. The same window slightly down. The same shape of the man inside. He wasn't watching her this time. The timer's owner. They're working 2,000 Fahrenheits. The time 7. He seemed lost in thought, staring at the lights across the street. She slowed down a little. Confused. Was he waiting for someone? Or did he just like parking there? She didn't think he noticed her walking by. But he did. He noticed every step. He lifted his head, and their eyes met. Only for a second, but long enough to feel something shift in the quiet air between them. She kept walking, her heart unsteady. He watched her until she disappeared around the corner. Maya reached her building, an old place with peeling paint and dim hallways. She climbed the stairs, unlocked her room, and sat on the edge of her small bed. Her legs hurt. Her back hurt. But she felt something warm inside. She had survived another day. But she also felt unsettled. Who was that man? Why did he sit near the diner? Why did he look at her like he was trying to read her silence? She lay down slowly, staring at the ceiling. She didn't want another heartbreak. She didn't want another Darius. She didn't want her trust stolen again. So she told herself, he's just a customer. Nothing more. But her heart whispered something different. Across the city, in a dark apartment with tall windows and expensive silence, Jordan sat alone, with a glass of water in his hand. Not wine, not whiskey, just water. He didn't drink anymore. He didn't celebrate much either. His life looked full from the outside: big office, luxury cars, real estate projects, people who respected him. But on the inside, everything felt small and cold. He turned the glass in his hand slowly, thinking about the day he had almost been married, about the woman who told him she loved him, about the woman he found smiling in another man's car the week before the wedding. He could still hear her words. "You give me everything, Jordan, except excitement." That day, something inside him cracked. Money meant nothing. Success meant nothing. Love. He didn't trust. For months he lived in silence, building projects, avoiding people, speaking only when necessary. His parents worried. His friends stopped asking him to go out. He stopped looking for anything real. Until today. Until he saw a girl in a diner with tired eyes and hopeful hands. She moved like someone carrying pain but refusing to fall. He recognized the look because he wore the same one. He whispered her name into the quiet room. Maya. Not because he planned anything. Not because he wanted to open his heart. But because, for the first time in a long time, his chest didn't feel heavy. For just a moment, it felt human. The next morning, Maya walked back to the diner. Her steps were slow, but steady. She wasn't thinking about Jordan. She told herself that again and again. But when she reached the diner door, her breath froze. He was already inside, sitting at the same booth. looking at the window like he was waiting for something. Or someone. Leela leaned close to Maya and whispered, "Baby, looks like we have a regular." Maya didn't respond. She wasn't ready for whatever this was becoming. And Jordan wasn't sure either. But fate had already taken its first step, and neither of them could stop it now. The next days passed quietly, but nothing inside them felt truly quiet. Not for Maya. Not for Jordan. Maya kept working in the diner, trying to focus, trying not to think about anything except the next table, the next plate, the next breath. But she felt his eyes every time she walked by. Not in a heavy way, not in a strange way. In a calm way that made her chest feel warm and nervous at the same time. He came every morning now. Always the same booth. Always the same calm look. Always alone. He didn't talk much. He didn't smile often. He didn't ask questions he didn't need to ask. But every time Maya refilled his cup, she felt the quiet between them, like something waiting to grow. One morning, as she placed his plate down, he spoke without lifting his eyes. "You're doing well," he said. She froze. "Sir?" "With the job," he said softly. "You learn fast." A tiny flutter moved inside her chest. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded once, simple and slow. After that, he didn't speak again. But he didn't need to. At the counter, Lila watched everything with the kind of eyes only older women have, eyes that see pain, love, fear, and hope long before it becomes clear. "That man's looking at you again," she whispered, leaning close. Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks. "He's a customer, Miss Lila." Lila raised a brow. "Baby, customers don't look like that unless something in their heart wakes up." Maya shook her head. "I'm not trying to wake anyone's heart." Lila smiled gently. "Sometimes hearts wake on their own." Maya didn't answer. She didn't want trouble. She wasn't ready for anything. And a man like him? He belonged in a world far above the one she walked in. She reminded herself again. He is nothing to me. Just a customer. But she didn't fully believe her own words. That afternoon, clouds rolled over Atlanta. Like a blanket. Rain started slow, then heavy. Maya stepped outside to throw trash in the back bins. Water hit her face and soaked her hair in seconds. She rushed toward the shelter. But the rain fell too fast. Her shirt clung to her skin. Her hands shook from the sudden cold. She tried to laugh it off, wiping her face with her sleeve. Then a shadow moved behind her. A large umbrella lifted above her head. She turned. Jordan stood there. Rain hit the umbrella hard, drumming like quiet thunder. He didn't speak at first. He just looked at her. Water dripping from the edges of his suit. "You'll get sick walking out here like this," he said. His voice was low, but not strict. Warm. Concerned. "I'm fine," she whispered. "You're shivering," he replied. She lowered her eyes. "It's just rain." He held the umbrella steady over both of them. Still. Maya stepped back slightly, uncomfortable with how close they stood. "Sir, you should go inside. You'll get soaked." But he didn't move, and the rain didn't slow. He looked at her as if trying to read something she didn't want anyone to see. "You work hard," he said. "Too hard." She shook her head. "I don't have a choice." His eyes softened. "Most people work hard because they want more. But you work hard because you need to survive." She felt her throat tighten. How did he see that so easily? He stepped back a little, giving her space. "Go inside. Get dry." She nodded and returned to the diner. But she could feel his eyes follow her until the door closed. Inside, Maya stood by the sink, trying to steady her breathing. Her heart was racing in a way she didn't understand. Why did he look at her like that? Why did his voice feel familiar? Why did she feel seen? The last time she felt seen, she lost everything. She closed her eyes and whispered, "I can't do this again." But fate didn't care, and neither did the quiet ache between two lonely people. Jordan stayed longer that day. Our gunnin', when the manor. Our gun another gun. He usually left after breakfast, but today he didn't leave until almost closing. He sat in the booth, staring at paperwork, signing documents, sending messages. But every time Maya walked by, his eyes lifted for a moment, softening without his permission. He didn't understand it either. He didn't come to the diner for food. He didn't come for comfort. He didn't come for conversation. He came because something in that diner made him breathe easier. And that something was her. When the diner finally closed, Maya walked outside with her small bag in hand. The rain had stopped. The air smelled clean and sweet, like wet pavement and fresh wind. She walked slowly, feeling tired but peaceful. Then a car engine hummed behind her. A familiar black car, the same one she had seen twice already. She kept walking. She didn't want to look. She didn't want to feel anything. But the car didn't pass her. It rolled beside her, moving at her pace. She stopped walking. So did the car. Her heart jumped. She finally turned. The window rolled down, and Jordan looked at her from inside. His voice was soft. "Maya, may I give you a ride home?" Her breath caught. Not because a man offered her help, but because someone like him offered her help. She shook her head. "No, sir. Thank you. I can walk." "Maya," he said gently, "it's late. It's cold. And you're tired." "I'm okay," she whispered. "You're not," he replied. She felt tears threaten her eyes, but she blinked them back. "I don't take rides from strangers," she said. He nodded slowly. "That's smart." A moment of silence fell. Then, he spoke again. "I'm not asking because I pity you. I'm asking because I worry about you." Her heart tightened again. Too fast. Too strong. She stepped back. "Please, don't." He lowered his eyes. His voice quietened. "I understand." The window rolled up. He didn't say another word. He didn't offer again. The car slowly drove away, and Maya stood there, trembling. Not from fear, but from a feeling she couldn't name, a feeling she wasn't ready for. Yet something inside her whispered, "This man is not like the others." Maya walked all the way home, with the same thought repeating in her mind. Why would a man like him worry about her? She lived in a small rented room on the second floor of an old building. When she reached her door, she leaned against the wall for a moment, breathing slow. Her heart was tired, but not in the same way as before. This was a different tired, a tired that came with questions she didn't want to ask. She went inside, locked the door, and sat on her bed. The room was quiet except for the sound of cars passing outside. She pulled her knees to her chest and rested her chin on them. She had promised herself she would never let another man close again. Not after Darius. Not after losing everything she saved. Not after the shame she still carried. But Jordan's voice, it didn't sound like Darius. And his eyes, they didn't move like someone trying to take something from her. Still, she whispered to herself, "I need to stay careful." Her heart agreed, but her soul felt something else, something she couldn't stop. The next morning, she reached the diner early again. She tied her apron tight, fixed her hair, and forced a calm breath. She told herself, Jordan might not come today. She told herself, it was better if he didn't. She told herself she needed focus, not distraction. But when she looked toward the door, he was already there, sitting in the same booth, looking at the same window, hands folded, calm, quiet, present. She almost stopped walking, but she forced herself to keep moving. She served other tables first. She ignored him as long as she could. but her heart didn't ignore anything. When she finally walked up to him, she kept her voice steady. "Good morning, sir." "The usual?" He looked at her, too softly. "Good morning, Maya." "Yes." She wrote the order, but he noticed the way her fingers shook. "Are you all right?" he asked. "Yes," she said quickly. "Just busy." He didn't buy that. He could see the tiredness under her eyes, the worry in her breath, the fear in her silence. But he didn't push. "Okay," he said quietly. She stepped away again, trying to breathe. Later in the morning, when the diner slowed down, someone unexpected walked in. A man around Jordan's age, dressed sharp and stylish, with confidence in his steps. He smirked when he saw Jordan. "There you are," he said as he slid into the booth across from him. "I've been calling you since yesterday." Maya pretended not to listen, but she heard every word. Jordan didn't smile. "Marcus, I've been busy." Marcus raised a brow. "Busy sitting in this little diner? Since when do you spend your mornings here?" Jordan didn't answer. Marcus leaned back and looked around the place. His lips curved in amusement. "Well, this is new. This spot is too humble for you." Jordan's jaw tightened slightly. Maya lowered her eyes and stepped into the kitchen, but she could still hear their voices. Marcus laughed. "Don't tell me the great Jordan Hale is hiding here from work, women, or life itself." Jordan didn't react. Then Marcus lowered his voice slightly, but not enough. "Or are you hiding from her? Still hurting over that woman? Man, it's been months." Maya froze behind the counter. Jordan's voice was steady, but low. "I don't want to talk about her." Marcus chuckled. "She fooled you, brother. Broke the engagement and took money on the way out." "You should have seen it." Jordan cut him off. "That's enough." The room grew still. Marcus raised his hands. "Fine. Fine. I won't bring it up." Maya stepped back quietly. Something inside her stomach twisted. Jordan? Betrayed? By someone he loved? By someone he almost married? For a moment, she forgot her own pain. His pain felt real. Deep. Quiet. Like her own. Marcus changed subjects. "Anyway, I came to remind you about the property meeting tomorrow. If you want the downtown contract, you need to show up." "I know," Jordan said. "You don't act like you know," Marcus replied. "You've been distant. Everyone sees it." Jordan sighed. "I'll be there." "You better be," Marcus said. "This deal could add 5 new towers to the company. Don't let emotions slow you down." Jordan didn't answer. Marcus stood from the booth. "Take care, brother. And stop hiding in diners." He left. Jordan sat alone again. Maya stepped out of the kitchen. Her step slower than before. She moved to his table with the check. "You didn't have to bring it," he said softly. "I'm your server," she replied, avoiding his eyes. He studied her quietly. "You heard what he said." She froze. She didn't expect him to say it out loud. "I wasn't listening," she whispered. He exhaled a small, sad breath. "It's fine. It doesn't matter anymore." She finally looked at him. But what she saw in his eyes was not anger, not pride, not ego. It was pain. Soft, deep, hidden, the same kind she carried. She swallowed slowly. "I'm sorry for what happened to you." He nodded, the corner of his mouth dropping. "You don't need to be." "I understand heartbreak," she whispered. He raised his eyes. "I can tell." A quiet moment passed between them. Not romantic, not flirtatious. Just two people recognizing the broken places in each other. Jordan slid the check back. "Keep the change." She shook her head. "Sir, that's too much. You need it more than I do," he said softly. She felt her throat tighten. "I don't want your pity." "It's not pity. he replied. It's respect. The words hit her harder than she expected. She stepped back. Thank you. He stood up slowly. I'll see you tomorrow. She didn't ask why. He said it like a promise. But she felt it. He walked to the door, then paused. Just like always. And looked at her one last time. Then he left, leaving her with a feeling she wasn't ready for, and a future she couldn't see yet. The next morning arrived with a heavy sky. Clouds hung low over Atlanta, pressing down on the streets like a quiet warning. Maya reached the diner earlier than usual. Her thoughts were louder than her footsteps. She moved slower, quieter, as if she didn't want to disturb the fragile balance inside her chest. She tied her apron, brushed her hair back, and stepped behind the counter. Lila watched her for a long moment. You look worried, Lila said softly. I'm fine, Maya whispered. Baby, you keep saying that, Lila replied. But your eyes tell another story. Maya looked down. I just have a lot on my mind. Does it have anything to do with that man? Lila asked. Maya froze for a second. No, she lied. It's not about him. But it was. Jordan arrived 30 minutes later. Right on time. Right when she expected him. Right when she wished he wouldn't, yet hoped he would. He walked inside wearing a dark coat, raindrops still on the shoulders. He looked tired, like he hadn't slept well. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he thought about their last conversation too. He sat at his usual booth, hands folded, eyes distant. Maya steadied her breath and walked toward him. Good morning, she said softly. He lifted his eyes. They were warmer than she expected. Good morning, Maya, she swallowed. The usual? Yes. She wrote his order. But before she turned away, he spoke again. Thank you. For what you said yesterday. She blinked. I didn't say much. You said enough, he replied. She didn't know what to say after that. So she walked back to the counter, heart beating unevenly. When the food was ready, she brought it to him. She set the plate down gently. She didn't want to look at him too long, but he watched her with the same quiet expression. You seem tired, he said. I'm okay, she whispered. But he knew her voice better now. She wasn't okay. He didn't push, but he didn't look away either. Voices, plates, footsteps, laughter, the usual morning chaos. Maya slipped through it all like a thread through fabric. She moved fast, but her mind kept drifting toward the corner booth. Every time she walked by, Jordan looked up. Not staring, not searching, just noticing, like she was someone he couldn't ignore. Around noon, a loud voice echoed inside the diner. Maya. Girl, I knew that was you. Maya stiffened. A woman in her late 20s walked in wearing bright colors and high heels. Her hair was big, her makeup heavy. She looked around with a dramatic smile, then spotted Maya again. Maya. Oh my God. Is that really you? Maya moved toward her slowly. Hello, Tamara. Tamara laughed loudly. I can't believe it. Maya from school, working in a diner? Girl, after everything you planned? This is where you ended up? Her words weren't cruel, but they cut deep. Old wounds opened like fresh ones. Maya felt heat rise in her cheeks. I just started here. Tamara glanced around, eyes wide with fake surprise. Well, no shade, but wow, I didn't expect this life for you. Maya lowered her gaze. Jordan watched the whole thing from across the room. His jaw tightened. Tamara leaned in. What happened? You used to dream big. You had goals. Oh wait, wasn't there a guy? What was his name? Maya's breath stopped. Please don't say it. Please don't. Darius, Tamara said loudly. That was his name, right? Did he ever give back your money? I told you something was off about him. Maya felt her throat burn. Her hands shook. Tamara, please, What? She laughed. It's not like I'm lying. Maya felt tears forming. She turned away, but Tamara kept talking. You always trusted too fast. Remember that time in senior year when... A voice cut her off. That's enough. Jordan stood from his booth. The whole diner fell silent. Tamara looked at him, surprised. Excuse me? Jordan walked toward them slowly, controlled, steady. His presence filled the room. You're hurting her, he said calmly. Stop. Tamara blinked. Do I know you? No, Jordan replied. But you know what you're doing. Tamara's smile faded. Her confidence cracked. Maya whispered, Jordan, please. He didn't look at her. His eyes stayed on Tamara. You came here to embarrass her, he said quietly. But you're the only one embarrassing yourself. Tamara's mouth opened, but no words came out. Jordan stepped closer. His voice stayed calm. Too calm. If you don't value her feelings, then leave. Now. A moment of thick silence hung in the air. Tamara scoffed, grabbed her purse, and turned sharply. She left without another word. The bell above the door rang softly when she walked out. Maya stood frozen, shaking, quiet, exposed. Jordan turned to her. His voice softened instantly. Are you all right? She shook her head. Tears fell before she could stop them. He stepped closer, but not too close. Close enough to protect. Far enough to respect. You didn't deserve that, he said softly. Maya covered her face with her hands. She wanted to disappear. I'm sorry, she whispered, though she wasn't sure why. Don't apologize, he said gently. Not for someone else's cruelty. She cried silently, her shoulders trembling. He didn't touch her. He didn't rush her. He just stood there, like a calm wall between her and the world. For the first time since she met him, she felt safe. Truly safe. And that scared her more than anything. The diner stayed quiet long after Tamara left. Even the sound of plates and forks seemed softer, like everyone felt the weight of what had just happened. Maya wiped her face quickly, trying to look normal again, but the redness around her eyes refused to fade. Lila came from behind the counter, her expression tight with worry. Baby, you okay? She asked gently. Maya nodded even though she wasn't okay at all. I'm fine. No, you're not, Lila whispered. Come here. She pulled Maya into a small hug, rubbing her back the way a mother would. People who talk loud usually got small hearts. Don't let their words stay in you. Maya swallowed hard. I didn't think she'd say all that. In front of everyone. Lila clicked her tongue. Some folks live off drama. They only feel alive when they hurt someone else. Maya nodded but didn't speak. Her eyes drifted to the corner booth. Jordan stood there, watching her with concern he didn't hide. He walked toward them, slow and steady. May I speak to her for a moment? He asked Lila. Lila glanced at Maya. You okay with that? Maya hesitated, then nodded softly. Lila stepped back. Jordan waited until the room was quieter. The last two customers finished eating and left. A soft storm sat between them now. Her tears, his silence, their unspoken wounds. Maya, he said calmly, you don't have to let people like her define your story. She looked down. She just reminded me of everything I lost. Then let me remind you of something else, he said gently. You survived. That matters more than who hurt you. Her breath trembled. I'm tired of trying to survive. I know, he said quietly. I've been there. She lifted her eyes. With the woman your friend mentioned? His jaw tightened slightly. Yes. He didn't want to talk about it, but he wanted her to know she wasn't alone. She took a part of me, he admitted. A part I didn't think I'd ever get back. Maya didn't speak. She just listened. He never talked this much before. And after she left, he continued, People kept telling me to move on, to get over it, but they didn't understand how betrayal feels. Maya whispered, "It feels like something breaks inside you." He nodded. "Yes." And the world keeps moving like nothing happened. A long silence followed. Two wounded hearts recognizing each other. Jordan exhaled slowly. "But I'm learning something, Maya." "What?" "That broken doesn't mean finished." Her lips parted slightly. She didn't expect him to say that. He took a small step closer. "You deserve better than the pain you've carried. And you deserve better than people who come only to shame you." Her eyes welled again. And that better. In the next dive. And they're one of the say. We then morting the money. We're glad is a build. We are our weld. With the money weld. And the money weld. She wiped them quickly. "I don't want anyone feeling sorry for me." "I don't," he said. "I feel protective." The word made her chest tighten. She stepped back. "Why?" "You don't know me." He looked at her slowly, as if choosing every word. "Maybe the world shows us certain people for a reason," he said. "People we recognize, even in silence." Her breath caught. She didn't know how to answer that. He didn't push further. He didn't move closer. He just let the moment breathe. Then he said, "Take your break. Please." His voice sounded like a request he rarely made. Maya nodded and walked to the back room, her heart shaking with every step. "Thanks for watching. And like break. And for watching. Think Zad. He do not reason watching. Think Zad. He do not with unexpected. And like the promoting. And like think you can churning." Behind the kitchen door, she leaned against the wall and closed her eyes. Her chest felt full fear, comfort, confusion, hope, all mixed, all heavy. Why did this man affect her like this? Why did he defend her? Why did he see her pain so clearly? She touched her cheek. Tracks of tears still there. A soft knock came on the wall. Lila slipped in quietly. "You okay now?" she asked. "I don't know," Maya whispered. Lila smiled gently. "That means your heart is waking up." "I don't want it to," Maya said. "I can't get hurt again." "Honey," Lila replied, "you can't live life in pieces. Sooner or later someone will show you you're worth putting back together." Maya swallowed. "Do you think he—" Lila smirked. "Oh, baby, that man watches you like someone who don't want to want you, but can't help it." Maya's face warmed. "Lila, I'm just saying what I see," Lila said. "Pain recognizes pain. But healing recognizes healing too." When Maya stepped back out, Jordan was standing by the door, ready to leave. He saw her and paused. "Maya," he said gently, "I'll come by tomorrow. Only if you're comfortable with that." She didn't expect him to ask permission. It made something inside her melt. She nodded once. Soft, fragile, but real. "Okay," she whispered. His eyes softened. He opened the door and stepped into the rain. She watched him walk to his car without an umbrella, the rain hitting his shoulders, his coat darkening. He didn't rush. He didn't hide. He walked like a man used to storms. Her heart whispered a truth she wasn't ready to accept. This man has a place in your story. She just didn't know how big that place would become. Not yet. But fate was already moving. And their lives were quietly tying together, thread by thread. The next morning brought a quiet calm after the storm. The clouds were still heavy, but the light felt softer. Maya woke up slower than usual, her mind still stuck on the day before, on Tamara's words, on Jordan's voice, on the way he stood between her and the world. Her chest felt fragile, as if she was carrying something new and delicate. At the diner, she tried to push everything aside. She tied her apron, fixed her hair, and started wiping tables. But every few minutes, her eyes drifted toward the door, even though she kept telling herself not to. He came anyway. Jordan stepped inside with the same controlled presence, wearing a dark blue suit today. His hair was slightly damp, like he'd walked through morning mist. He went straight to his booth but didn't pull out his phone this time. He just rested his hands on the table and waited. Maya walked to him with a quiet breath. "Good morning," she said softly. "Good morning, Maya," he replied. She tried to hide it, but his voice warmed something inside her chest. "The usual?" she asked. "Yes," he said, then added, "Only if you're okay today." Her heart skipped. She nodded. "I am. Not fully true. Not fully a lie." She took the order to the kitchen. Lila slid close to her with a raised eyebrow. "Baby, that man looks at you like he's thinking about your soul," Lila whispered. "Please don't," Maya muttered, embarrassed. "I'm just saying what I see," Lila replied. "And what I see is a man trying real hard not to feel something he already feels." Maya didn't answer. She didn't know how. When the food was ready, she carried it to his table. She set the plate down quietly, but Jordan noticed the way she avoided his eyes. "Maya," he said gently. She finally looked at him. "You don't have to hide when you're in pain," he said. Her breath caught. "I'm not hiding." "You are," he replied. "You're strong, but you're tired too." She stepped back slightly. "You see too much." He gave a small, sad smile. "Only because I know the signs." She didn't want to fall into this. Not again. Not in her heart. But she couldn't deny that something about him pulled at the pieces she thought were gone forever. Hours passed. The diner filled. People laughed, ordered, argued, spilled, called, waited. Maya moved through all of it, but her mind stayed tangled with the morning. Around noon, Lila told her to take the trash out again. "Fresh air will help. Go on," she said. Maya grabbed the bags and stepped behind the building. The alley was quiet, the sun peeking through thick clouds. She tossed the bags in the bin and wiped her hands on her apron. She didn't expect him to be there. Jordan stood at the far end of the alley, hands in his pockets, looking down at the ground like he'd been thinking for hours. She froze. He looked up slowly. "I didn't mean to scare you," he said. "You didn't," she whispered. He walked a little closer, keeping a careful distance. "Maya," he said, "I've been trying to understand something." "What?" she asked. "Why someone like you was treated the way she was." She stiffened. "I don't want to talk about that," she said. He nodded. "I won't push. But it bothers me." "Why?" she whispered. "Because you don't deserve that kind of hurt." Her throat tightened. He stepped 1 inch closer. Not enough to overwhelm her, but enough to break the distance between two lonely hearts. "You deserve softness," he said. "You deserve quiet mornings, and safety, and respect." Her eyes filled. "Please don't say things like that." "Why not?" "Because I don't know how to hold them," she whispered. His expression softened even more. "You don't have to hold them yet," he said. "Just hear them." Tears slipped down her cheek. She wiped them quickly, turning away. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't apologize for having feelings, Maya." She took a slow breath. "You don't know me." "I'm trying to," he said. Her heart shook. She didn't know how to stop the feeling spreading through her, slow and warm. She didn't know why he cared. She didn't know why she cared that he cared. Before she could answer, a sudden noise broke the moment. A car door slammed near the street. A voice called out sharply. "Jordan!" He turned. Marcus walked up with fast steps, worry in his eyes. "There you are," he said. "I've been calling for the last hour. You missed the pre-meeting." "I got delayed," Jordan replied calmly. "Delayed?" Marcus looked him up and down. "You're supposed to be preparing for the biggest business deal of the year, and you're standing in an alley?" Jordan didn't react. Maya tried to step back, but Marcus's eyes caught her. "Oh," he said with a smirk. "Now I see why you're here." Jordan's jaw tightened. "Marcus, no, no," Marcus said, raising his hands. "It makes sense. You vanish. You skip meetings. You sit in diners. And now you're hiding in alleys with waitresses?" Maya's heart dropped. Her stomach tightened. Shame hit her like a knife. Jordan's voice dropped low. "Dangerous. Don't disrespect her." Marcus scoffed. "I'm not disrespecting her. I'm pointing out the truth." Jordan stepped closer. His voice sharp. "She is none of your business." Marcus blinked. The silence cracked. Maya felt her heart shaking. Something was happening. Something she wasn't ready for. Marcus looked between them slowly. Then a slow smirk spread across his face. "Oh," he said. "This is serious, isn't it?" Jordan didn't answer. He didn't have to. Marcus exhaled, shook his head, and whispered, "You're in trouble, brother." Then he walked away, leaving Jordan and Maya standing in the quiet alley, both breathing too fast, both pretending nothing had shifted, even though everything had. Maya stood frozen in that narrow alley long after Marcus walked away. Her chest felt tight, her breath uneven. She tried to look anywhere but at Jordan, but her eyes kept pulling back to him. He seemed just as tense, but his tension wasn't anger. It was worry, deep worry. "I'm sorry you had to hear him speak like that," Jordan said quietly. She shook her head. "It's not your fault." "It feels like it is," he replied. Maya swallowed hard. "I'm used to people judging me." He frowned. "You shouldn't have to be." She tried to smile, but it wasn't real. "This is my life, Jordan. People think they know everything from the outside." He took a slow breath. "I hate that you've been treated that way." "Why?" she whispered. He hesitated, then said the truth. "Because it hurts me to see it." Her eyes dropped to the ground. She wasn't ready for that kind of honesty. She wasn't ready for anything that felt like hope. She stepped back. "We should get inside. I still have work." He nodded, but his eyes held something heavy, something wounded. Before she could walk away, he said, "Maya, please don't let Marcus's words stay with you." "They won't," she whispered. Another lie she wished was true. She turned and walked back into the diner, forcing herself into the noise and movement. She grabbed plates, wiped counters, and took orders as if nothing had happened. But everything felt heavier. Her hands trembled every time she passed the corner of the kitchen. Her chest tightened every time the doorbell rang. She didn't want to look outside. She didn't want him to see she wasn't as strong as she pretended. Yet a part of her wanted him to stay. Jordan didn't leave right away. He stood by the diner's front window, watching her move through the room. He had never felt so helpless. He wanted to protect her. He wanted to shield her from everything. He wanted to erase every moment that made her doubt her worth. But he didn't know how, and he wasn't sure she would let him. Marcus's words echoed in his mind. "You're in trouble, brother." Maybe he was. Maybe he had been from the moment he first saw her behind the glass. When Maya finally got a break, she walked outside to sit on the small bench near the side door. The air was warm and thick, the kind that made your skin feel heavy. She closed her eyes. For a moment, she just breathed. Footsteps approached. Her eyes opened slowly. Jordan stood there, but he kept a respectful distance, like he was asking for permission without speaking. "May I sit?" he asked quietly. She nodded. He sat on the far end of the bench, leaving space between them. It wasn't much, but it mattered. He wasn't pushing. He wasn't rushing. He was just there. After a long silence, he spoke. "I never meant to pull you into my life," he said. "But somehow, you're the only part of it that feels real." Her breath caught. "Jordan." "I know," he said softly. You don't want this. You're not ready. I understand. She looked down at her hands. It's not that. It's just, I'm scared. I am too, he admitted. She looked at him, surprised. You? He nodded. When you've been betrayed, when someone breaks something inside you, healing feels dangerous. Love feels dangerous. Her eyes softened. Yes. He turned slightly toward her. When something the dollar. And Claude. When someone breaks something. When someone breaks something inside you. But sometimes, the things that scare us the most are the things that heal us the deepest. She felt tears burning again. She hated that he could see through her so easily. She hated that she liked it. Jordan, you have a whole life. A world I don't belong in. People like your friend. He cut her off gently. Marcus speaks without thinking. Don't measure your worth by someone else's ignorance. She swallowed. It's not just him. What, then? It's me, she said. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I trusted wrong people. I lost everything. He shook his head. Your mistakes don't define you, Maya. Maybe not, she whispered. But they follow me. He leaned slightly forward, voice low and honest. Then, let me walk with you, even if it's just as someone who understands. Her heart shifted painfully. Softly. Slowly. I don't know if I can let anyone in again, she whispered. He nodded. You don't have to decide now. She looked at him, surprised. I'll be here, he said. Not to pressure you. Not to ask anything from you. Just here. Her eyes filled again. A tear slipped down. Jordan reached out slowly, carefully like he was touching glass. He brushed that one tear away with his thumb. She didn't pull back. He whispered, You don't have to carry everything alone anymore. Maya closed her eyes. For the first time in a long time, she didn't feel alone. Not completely. Not with him sitting beside her. The door behind them opened. Lila poked her head out. Maya. Breaks over, oh, she said softly when she saw them. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt. Maya wiped her face quickly. I'm coming. Jordan stood slowly. Before he walked away, he said one last thing. Tomorrow, he whispered. I'll be here tomorrow. She nodded. Her voice barely a breath. Okay. He walked away, leaving her with a feeling she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Gentle. Dangerous. Alive. The next morning, Maya woke with a strange blend of warmth and fear in her chest. Jordan had said he'd come today. Part of her hoped he wouldn't. Part of her hoped he would. She dressed slowly, hands trembling. Her heart didn't feel ready for another step forward, but time kept moving anyway. When she reached the diner, the morning air felt heavy, as if the city itself was holding its breath. The lights inside glowed warm. Lila was already behind the counter, wiping a mug with a soft smile. You look nervous, Lila said. I'm not, Maya whispered. Baby, your shoulders are up to your ears, Lila replied. Maya tried to smile, but her thoughts were too loud. She kept checking the door. He wasn't there yet. She tried to focus. She wiped tables, filled syrup bottles, stacked menus, checked salt shakers, anything to keep her mind from spinning. But when the bell above the door finally rang, her heart stopped. Jordan walked in. He wasn't dressed like usual. No suit. No tie. Just a simple dark shirt and jeans. He looked softer, different, human. He walked toward his booth, slowly, like he wasn't sure if she wanted him there. Maya inhaled, held her breath, then walked toward him. Good morning, she said. Good morning, Maya, he replied. His voice carried something deeper today. Something unspoken. The usual? she asked. He hesitated, then nodded. She wrote the order and walked away, with shaking fingers. Lila noticed instantly. Baby, when a girl shakes like that, it ain't the cold. Maya lowered her eyes. I don't know what to feel. You don't need to know, Lila said gently. You just need to listen to your heart. My heart is scared, Maya whispered. Good, Lila said. If it wasn't, it wouldn't be real. When the food was ready, Maya brought it over. Jordan watched her place the plate down carefully. Maya, he said. Her breath hitched. Yes? I want to talk to you about something, he said softly. She froze. He saw her hand tremble. Not here, he added gently. When you take your break. She nodded slowly, but anxiety crawled inside her. Why would he want to talk? Was he leaving? Did she do something wrong? Was he pulling away? Her mind spun with fear she couldn't control. Around noon, the diner slowed. Lila told her, Take your break. Sugar. Maya's heart thumped hard. She walked outside and stood near the sidewall, the same spot where so many moments had started between them. Jordan stepped out seconds later. He looked nervous, a kind of nervous she had never seen in him. Maya, he said, before I say anything else, I want to thank you. She blinked. For what? For letting me into your days, even in small ways. Her chest tightened. I didn't let you, she whispered. You just walked in. He smiled a little. Maybe I did. A moment of silence settled between them. Then he said, There's something I need to tell you. Her breath shook. What is it? He looked down, as if it hurt him. Maya, I haven't been honest about who I am. Her heart dropped. I knew it, she whispered. You're leaving. No, he said quickly. Not that. He ran a hand through his hair, searching for words he didn't want to say. I didn't want to overwhelm you. I didn't want you to feel small. I didn't want you to think I was someone you couldn't talk to. What are you saying? She whispered. He exhaled slowly. I'm not just a businessman, Maya. I'm the owner of Hale and District Properties. Her breath caught. She had heard that name. Everyone in Atlanta had. He continued quietly. And half the buildings on this street are mine. Maya stepped back. Her lungs tightened. You own this area? She whispered. He nodded. Her heart cracked open with fear. You should have told me, she said, voice shaking. I was afraid, he admitted. Afraid you'd pull away. Her eyes filled. She couldn't stop them. You're rich, she whispered. You're powerful. You're everything I can't be near. That's not true, he said softly. It is, she cried. I don't belong in your world. He stepped closer, but slow, like approaching something fragile. You belong anywhere you choose to stand, he whispered. She shook her head. I should have told me. I trusted you. And now I feel like you hid something important. He swallowed hard. Pain crossed his eyes. I know, he said, and I'm sorry. She wiped tears quickly. I can't breathe. Jordan. Everything feels wrong. It's not wrong, he said. It's just heavy. But why didn't you tell me? She whispered. He finally answered the truth. Because the last woman in my life only loved me for my money. Her breath softened. I didn't want that to happen again, he said. I wanted one person. Just one. Who saw me. Not my name. Maya's tears fell harder. And you thought I was that person? She whispered. I know you are, he said quietly. Her heart broke and healed at the same time. But she still stepped back. I need time, she said. I need air. His expression fell, but he nodded. I'll wait, he said. Don't wait for me, she whispered. I will, he replied gently. No matter how long it takes. She turned away because she couldn't bear the weight in his eyes. He stood there, breathing slow, watching her walk back inside, not chasing her, not begging, just waiting, like a man who finally found something real and was terrified of losing it. Maya walked back inside the diner, but the air felt too thick to breathe. Everyone around her moved like normal, serving food, making coffee, laughing softly at small jokes, but she felt like her world had cracked open. Not in a painful way, in a terrifying way. The kind of way that happens right before life changes. She walked behind the counter and leaned against the shelves, hands pressed to her stomach. Her heartbeat wouldn't settle, her eyes wouldn't dry. Lila noticed instantly. Oh, baby, she whispered. What happened? But Maya shook her head. I can't talk right now. Lila touched her arm softly. Then breathe. Start with that. But even breathing hurt. She had spent so long running from men like Darius. She never imagined a man like Jordan would be the one hurting her in a completely different way by caring too deeply. The truth about who he was shouldn't have broken her. It should have impressed her. But all she felt was fear. Fear of not fitting in. Fear of being judged. Fear of being left behind again. Fear of loving a man she could lose too easily. Fear that she mattered too much to someone who lived in a world she didn't understand. She stepped into the restroom and splashed cold water on her face. She stared at herself in the mirror, tired eyes, messy hair, a girl wearing a cheap apron. What am I even doing? She whispered. She didn't know. Not anymore. When her break finally ended, she stepped out front again. Her heart clenched. Jordan was gone. She expected relief. Instead, she felt emptiness wash over her like cold rain. She worked through the rest of her shift slowly, quietly, barely speaking, barely breathing. When the diner finally closed for the night, she walked home alone. The streetlights glowed softly against the wet pavement. The city hummed in the background. Halfway home, she stopped walking. His car was parked near the curb. Her chest tightened. He stepped out slowly, hands in his pockets, face unreadable. I'm not here to push you, he said quietly. I just needed to make sure you got home safe. Maya swallowed. Jordan, you don't have to do that. I know, he said, but I wanted to. She looked down at the sidewalk. I'm sorry I walked away earlier. You had every right, he replied. And you had every right to be honest about who you are, she said. He shook his head. I wasn't trying to hide from you. I was trying to protect something fragile. Your heart? She whispered. No, he said softly. Yours. Her breath broke. He took a small step closer. Maya, I would never hurt you on purpose. Not you. She closed her eyes. I'm still scared, she whispered. I am too, he said. She opened her eyes slowly. You don't look scared. That's because I'm trying to hold myself together, he replied with a sad smile. A small, painful silence passed between them. Then he said, I don't need you to choose me right now, or trust me right now, or love me right now. Her heart jumped. I just need you to let yourself heal, he whispered, and let me stand near you while you do. Her chest tightened painfully, beautifully, dangerously. Jordan, she said softly. He exhaled. If you tell me to go, I'll go. I won't come back. I won't make anything harder for you. She stared at him, at the man who could have had any life he wanted, any woman he wanted, and yet stood in front of her, in the dark, waiting like a man holding his breath. She looked at the ground, then at the sky, then at him. Her voice was small, but steady. I don't want you to go. His breath shook for the first time. He stepped closer just enough for her to feel the warmth of his body. Then I'll stay, he whispered. She closed her eyes. But I'm still hurt. So am I. I'm still scared. So am I. I don't trust myself. I trust you enough for both of us, he said softly. Her lips trembled. She wasn't ready for love. But she was ready for truth. Jordan, she whispered, I don't know how to step into your world. He touched her hand lightly, gently, like it was the most fragile thing he'd ever held. Then don't, he whispered. Let me step into yours. Her eyes filled again. This time, she didn't wipe the tears away. He brought her hand to his chest. His heartbeat was slow and strong. Let me meet you where you are, he said. Not where the world expects us to be. She nodded once. Soft, shaking, real. A quiet promise formed between them in the cool night air. Not a love story yet. Not a fairy tale. Not a perfect ending. Just two broken people choosing to walk forward together, even if their steps weren't steady yet. He whispered one last thing. I'm not leaving, Maya. Not unless you tell me to. And she whispered back, I won't. They stood under the streetlight like that, not touching too much, not pulling too close, just existing in a moment that felt like healing. Slow, warm, new. And for the first time in a long time, neither of them felt alone. If you felt this story, please subscribe for more emotional journeys.